come to show you some videos of some of the work that we've been doing. As Jean said, my name is Templeton, and I'm going to talk to you about lots of things. I had quite significantly short hair back then. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about Thoughtden as a company. We founded it in 2005, and I guess our founding principle was digital curiosity. And in whatever form that may take, we marched on, and we played with games, with digital, we played outdoors, as Catherine has explained, and collaboration was at the source of it. So since then, we've moved in very many different directions, and that's partly why I'm here in San Francisco. So Dan's the technical director on the left, and I'm the creative director. So I'll do my best to structure things, but I might get a bit excited and carried away. So bear with me, and also please, Catherine as well, throw things into the ring, and everyone just ask questions. And so I wanted to also explain why I'm here, because I think Bristol is the San Francisco of England. We've got a very beautiful bridge, Clifton Suspension Bridge, like you have. We've got an amazing park called Ashton Court Park, very similar to the Golden Gate Park, where we have festivals and games. And I live on Haight Street here in San Francisco, and I was born on Gloucester Road in Bristol, and there's a fantastic vibrancy to Bristol that San Francisco has. And there's this fantastic vibrancy here that's shared in Bristol, and I think the parallels are becoming more and more obvious the longer I stay here. So I want to make the case for all of you guys coming over to Bristol. You're always welcome at the Pervasive Media Studio to carry on the dialogue. That's my little stint about why I'm here in San Francisco. So what we do with our digital curiosity, this is a little bit about Thoughtden now. I want to explain this abstract diagram. It's only in the last year or so that it's become clear what we do, because ultimately we're just digitally curious. But we work in the learning sector, we work in gaming, and we work in pervasive media. And I'm going to very briefly explain what I mean by that. So gaming, these are a couple of online games that we've made for Southern Comfort, for Jack Daniels, for the Central Office of Information in that's the UK government. This is for a game for Channel 4, that one in the middle, the Bourbon Street Vampire Chase, that's for Southern Comfort. So we make games that essentially live online. That's how it all started. We just made playful games that kids could learn from them, clients could deliver brand messages through these games. And this down here, 2009, was when we first really got involved with pervasive gaming, street gaming, big gaming. And I'm going to come on to talk about that in a little while. But ultimately, gaming is at the core of our business, and I'd really like to sort of add to what Catherine said, that we learn through play, and play is really important to us as a company. And we're trying to persuade people like Jack Daniels and the BBC that play is the way forward. So, learning, next maybe. Learning. So, since graduating from Bournemouth University, I've lectured there, and we run intensive workshops for all the students there. We take 150 of them for 3 days, and we bring them through brainstorming exercises and teamwork. We've expanded that to work with UE, and also since my arrival in San Francisco, we're going to be working with College of Creative, what's it called? California College of the Arts. And some of you maybe are aware that they're designing a new course called Interaction Design, and I'll be talking a little bit about that. BBC Blast is a scheme that is sadly no longer running, but that's all about working with kids through play. And in general, as Jean said, we work with the BBC doing sort of training workshops and just getting people playing silly games. And you mentioned the game Paparazzi, and there's a little variation on it, I think, where you put numbers on your back. Everyone puts like a number on their back, and then you all have a camera phone and you charge around the room taking pictures and see how many pictures you can get of numbers. So everyone's kind of like back to the wall running around. And it's just a fantastic way to get people using technology, but in a background way. That everyone's so familiar with camera phones that they don't always realize they can play games with them. So that's sort of some of the work we're doing with the BBC. And this thing in the bottom right, Show Me the Money, that's a series of workshops that we've been running, which is ultimately about bringing a sense of commerciality to the more creative work that we do and that people do in Bristol in particular. And I think people often struggle to kind of communicate the benefits of this exciting work, and what we're trying to do is run workshops to help them find how ways to monetize their crazy ideas. And Bristol is full of crazy ideas. So that's the learning side of things, and I'd love to have more communication, more sort of dialogue with you guys about how we could do knowledge transfer between Bristol and San Francisco. And then finally, pervasive media, which I suppose is mostly why I'm here. This is the logo for the Pervasive Media Studio. We'll talk a little bit more about it, of course. HP Labs, Hewlett-Packard Labs, until this year had a huge research lab in Bristol, and sadly it had to close down. But they were a large part of the money that was put into the founding of the Pervasive Media Studio, and to this day they still work in that space. I mean, it's a shame that the lab had to close, but there are still other tech representations in that area. There's sort of Toshiba, and there's a big BBC presence there as well. We've been persuading people like Southern Comfort to engage with pervasive media. What do we actually mean by pervasive media is quite a tricky question to answer, and I'm hoping that I'm preaching the converted here to a certain extent. Ubiquitous computing, pervasive computing. My understanding of it is that it's simply away from the laptop, away from the desk. You're mobile, you're outdoors. And so we've been getting Southern Comfort to do sort of projections on buildings and getting people to text in and using Wii controllers to play with things and just sort of taking it outdoors a little bit. And to return maybe to one of our founding principles as Thoughtden, it's a lot about people. And technology can often get in the way, in my opinion. Pervasive media for me is about bringing the people together. The technology takes a back seat. We also work with the Tate Gallery in London. They're a fantastic organisation and they're very open-minded. They've been running some great projects. They've worked with Hide and Seek, who are a similar organisation to come out and play. And they're running similar outdoor games, which is fantastic. So my feeling is that the commercial world is certainly waking up to the sort of work that Catherine's doing and that we're involved with in Bristol. So what is the Pervasive Media Studio? Essentially, Watershed is an institution in Bristol that's been running for sort of tens of years. It's a cinema, it's an art space, it's a cafe. It's one of those amazing places where you can go and log on the wireless for free, get a coffee, see a film, look at some art. It's a very, very important institution at the heart of Bristol. And the guy that runs it, Dick Penny, is a fabulous guy. He's a bit of a drunkard, but he's a fabulous guy, and he just loves people. He loves putting money back into the community. And if it wasn't for Dick Penny, I'm not sure the Pervasive Media Studio would exist. So the Watershed has thrown lots of money into this. DCRC, that's the Digital Cultures Research Centre, that's a collection of academics, and they've been lobbying the government to get some money from the government. So it's also funded by the government. And then the Southwest Regional Development Agency. The sort of economic climate has changed over the last year or two, as we're all aware. But when the studio was founded, the Spoilrr, as we call them, were very, very generous, and they gave us a big chunk of cash to get the studio up and running. The studio is actually a physical space, and that's what's so amazing about it. It's an incredible space there, and this was just a picture I quickly grabbed off my laptop this afternoon because I wanted to give you a sense of it. There's like a film crew in there, and there's bookshelves, and people make things out of cardboard boxes, and it's a very, very open working environment, and it's right in the centre of Bristol. And that's what the Pervasive Media Studio aims to be, is a physical place at the heart of Bristol that the community at large can come and use. And so, the studio is open on Fridays for anyone to drop in and use the facilities. There are regularly arguments about putting money into the coffee jar, but these are practicalities that we get through.
So it's a non-profit organization?
Well,
it's a commercial.
It's a venture between. Well, now that Hewlett-Packard have kind of closed their operation in Bristol, essentially it's Watershed and the Digital Cultures and Research Centre, and the companies like myself that are part of the wider community. So there is a physical space where I could go in there at any point and talk with people, inventors, technicians, artists, and I'll go on to talk about the people that form the studio. But the studio in itself isn't a commercial entity. It's a community interest company, a CIC. So that's partly where Thoughtden's role is at the moment, is helping the community expand its commercial operations because the money is running out. And, perhaps that's why I'm in San Francisco to see how we can build bridges and make things work, because we've got a fantastic community there, really, really vibrant. We've got lots to share. So I'll talk about what actually is the studio, who's in there. This is a reminder to look at some videos. Yeah. So I hope I've screened them, and they should be queued and ready to roll. So let's see if this works. I'll play the show reel. We don't have audio, so I'll turn this up. There are quite a few projects that we ran through in that video. One of them that I wanted to talk about actually was it was when the two guys were running around like that. It was a theatre piece. There are two schemes that the Basic Media Studio run. There's the media sandbox and the theatre sandbox. And the theatre sandbox is about innovating in the field of theatre. And it was a really interesting experiment actually. They got sort of 200 people to watch a film piece of theatre, filmed traditionally from, like as if it was a studio. And then they got 200 people to watch the piece of theatre filmed with pervasive cameras and sort of audio, like with mics on people's heads and cameras in boxes and using sensors, and the experience was much more engaging, and it was quite bizarre. And I ended up watching both versions, and it's amazing to see the difference of how this old technology of filming things can be kind of updated. And although that might sound abstract, it was essentially an experiment. How do we capture theatre using